Well, I think one of the things that really distinguishes Wanted is these two strong female protagonists. You know, it's very, very infrequently that you would come across that on television. And it's something that we were very keenly aware of in the plotting, to never sort of stumble into, you know, the trap of having big burly men step in and save them or whatever.
The hard thing is when you get to a certain age that women are kind of relegated the role of mother or grandmother or the doctor up the road. They're still not considered leading ladies, and I'm trying to create characters and series where we celebrate the older person and we recognise that we're all still vital and we still have a lot to offer.
Typically, I guess a female-driven story would be about a woman falling in love with a man, but this is kind of about two women falling in love with themselves.
It's an aspirational story about women that are leading these kind of boring lives, and what happens to them when an extraordinary circumstance forces them not only to rely on each other but also to question the lives that they've led up until this point.
Whatever situation they get into, you know, it's up to them to get themselves out. And to me, I think that's just wonderful, and it's great. You know, I have a young daughter. I want her to see women, you know, looking after themselves on screen. I want them to see strong female protagonists and, you know, just women kicking men in the balls left, right and centre. Lola's character is fascinating to me because she sort of represents, you know, this pocket of people who exist in our society who often can walk amongst us, but they're completely alone, void of any, you know, meaningful contact. You know, the son that she loved has grown up and moved on, and she sort of found herself now, you know, quite alone. You just do not expect to see Rebecca Gibney, you know, playing this role, and yet she, you know, completely inhabits this role and takes it to places far beyond what was on the page.
I always had a very definite idea of what Lola should look like. She was just an ordinary woman. She's a checkout chick, so she dresses for comfort, but also she always dresses knowing that she may have to get up and move at any given time.
She's quite a practical woman. She's nothing glamorous. She's working in a practical job. We see her in, I guess, a supermarket costume. So we wanted it to be a contemporary, real uniform.
We tested wigs, we tested different hair colours. We did lots and lots of testing to see which way we could go with the character.
Chelsea was always another character that I had completely in my head. I used to love this series called The Odd Couple, and it was actually two men, Felix and Oscar, and I always saw Chelsea and Lola as being the Felix and Oscar of this series. Chelsea had to be the antithesis in every way, shape and form, in looks, in character, in ability, and also in age. And Geraldine Hakewell walked in and she just was Chelsea right from the outset.
She seems like the sort of person who's determined to be invisible for the rest of her life. I think she's full of anxiety about the world, and she doesn't quite trust herself and doesn't really know what she's capable of. I love the character. I love all the characters, but I love Chelsea. And when I read Chelsea for the first time, I knew that I could do it, and I knew that it was somebody I really wanted to bring to life.
As a writer, you can't ask for more than just seeing someone take a character off the page and just double its value and take it so much further. I mean, she brought humour to elements where, you know, you never saw humour in that scene, and, you know, she's great. She was wonderful.
We spent quite a long time working out exactly what Chelsea would wear. At the beginning, it's all greys and pastel colours. Her hair's really tightly pulled back.
So everything was tight, you know, very clean lines, very simple.
She's not wearing anything that's going to make her stand out in the world.
She works in a very kind of corporate environment, but she is quite a quirky girl herself. So we see her in corporate wear, and then on the run, she's very practical. She's in a situation where she doesn't have her own wardrobe, so jeans, collared shirt, practical hiking boots. She's just kind of preparing herself for anything that could come her way.
Chelsea and Lola, even though they're poles apart and they have nothing in common, they are forced to rely on each other, they're forced to become friends, and I think it's a relationship that surprises even the two of them.
I think they discover a kind of solidarity with each other in their loneliness, and throughout the series they discover a friendship that is the best friendship that either of them has ever had.
Scenes which really stand out for me are the scenes where Lola and Chelsea probe each other for the truth, and for the first time in their entire lives they show someone who they really are. You know, you can't help but be very, very moved.
I feel like I'm working with the Meryl Streep of Australia. Rebecca's just so beautiful and generous and talented and kind. I couldn't have asked for a better co-star.
She's extraordinary and she's delivering the most wonderful performance. I think she's the new it girl. I'm predicting big things for her on telly.